from the University of Calabar. So I graduated 2019, but I served and I passed out from service 2022. So that last year was the first time. So last year was even the first time I actually had something like PTDF was existing, and it was actually meant to even sponsor Nigerian students abroad. And that was the first time I also applied. And prior to my application, I had this notion that anything with Nigeria is based on corruption. So I was like, anything before you can win PTDF scholarship, you must know someone in the green chambers or in the yellow and the red chambers. Like you must know someone that knows someone. So when a friend told me that I should go ahead and apply, I had this resentment for it. I was like, I don't know anybody. I don't have anybody at Abuja. So it's literally not going to work. So he encouraged me and I went ahead and applied. So when I applied, but before application, thank God for this family. Joshua was here and his team to review all our documents, and a good number of us were shortlisted, just like you all are just for the information. So he gave me a lot of tips then. How to write the SOP and some of the ingredients at the SOP. I did that and my name. So when the name was shortlisted, that was when the main tension happened. Because prior to the shortlisting of the name, I did not really have so much confidence like I was going to be shortlisted. So I was still, but when my name finally came out, I knew that I was in for a very big competition. And since the competition is between you and your fellow state people, I was like, coming from Taraba State, I do not know how many people, I don't know how many graduates have applied. Because it's possible that some states, like for example, MSc in my time, last year, MSc from each state, they picked 6 MSc students, 6 and 4 PhD. Then from the oil producing state, they had additional one person again. So if you are from your state, know that you are competing with, it could be possible that your state, the applicants this year, or those that have been shortlisted are up to 100, they are up to 50, they are up to 150. The competition is between you and these guys from your state. So my own experience, I came out with a 2-1 and I read microbiology. So this alone were challenges for me. And the only course I did that was related to petroleum was petroleum microbiology, which was even in the second semester while in school. And this program is telling you that everything you have to do about it has to revolve around the PTDF mandate. So it was a big issue for me. I didn't really know how I was going to go and face a panel in Abuja, because Abuja was actually my interview and defend that I'm going to contribute meaningfully to the oil and gas industry. So initially my SOP was centered on photo degradation. So Mr. Joshua gave me the encouragement and all that it was possible that as a microbiologist I could actually still win a scholarship. So this was one thing I believe that it gave me an edge, was trying first of all to understand my challenges, my weaknesses, because if you believe only in your strength, you might be disadvantaged or you might be disappointed at the end. Now, what were some of the challenges I first of all identified as a candidate going for the interview? My first limitation was the fact that I came out with a 2-1. In as much as, because everybody believes that, and it's for a fact that most of them that win those scholarships, you see them, they are mostly first-class students. So and the notion goes around that those things is meant for either first-class students or someone knows someone that knows someone. Now, my first limitation was that I was a 2-1 student. The second one, I read microbiology. How is microbiology related to oil and gas industry? Thirdly, my other fear was that my O-level, because O-level was also a criteria. I don't even have A in my Y8. I have B, and I have B or 2B, then I have C. So, and then I was going to go and compete with guys that we are already at the top, possibly first class. So why I'm sharing this is because maybe some of you, if you're here and you're 2-1, you shouldn't feel left out. Just know that you're in for the competition, and your onion, knowing your onions very well can give you a very powerful edge. So understanding the weaknesses that I have already, I knew that the competition for me was bigger. So what I did differently was this. it was masters that I was going for, but I did not go with the mindset of going to go and defend SOP as by because it is masters. I went with the idea of defending it as a PhD student. So that was the mindset I went with. Because you might just think maybe it's only the PhD students that are going to go and present proposals and all that. So when we had rooms like this, and Mr. Joshua and the rest, like, okay, you SOP, read your SOP, know it very well. And when I listened to the orientation given to PhD students, I believe that I could actually tap in from what was given to PhD students and add to mine. So I went with it with the idea of a PhD, not the idea of an MSc student or someone going for MSc. Because to a fact, your SOP has limited you because you only have 500 words to write what you do. And you agree with me that some of you, even after you submitted the SOP, you now realize that you would have written that would have made more sense. But you have already submitted it, there's no way to change it. And maybe it was even after you submitted it that another idea came and you are now finding it to be very meaningful that maybe this one will even sell. For example, somebody might have written that he wants to suggest to the oil and gas industry that they should replace our current crude oil with maybe green energy. And maybe somehow you're not finding it, maybe it might be contradictory to the mandate. How will you do at this point? So I did photo degradation in my SOP. So I now ask myself, the question I asked myself was that if I go and present before 3 panels, I'm going to talk about photo degradation. How many of these 3 would buy into the idea? Because at the end of the day, the recommendation will come from the 3 of the panelists you are going to face. So let's say, for example, panelist A, the first person agrees with you and the second person does not agree with you. You are disadvantaged. So what I did differently was that I now looked at other things I would have added so that I could just go and see. I couldn't add this other objective because the word limit was very, it was just 500. I could not add. What I did was that I remember very well, I had to go and sketch a triangle and I named the triangle after my name. I called it Innocent Petronano Triangular Solution. I can't really remember what I call it, but I actually called it after my name. Then, as a microbiologist, I knew that questions would come like, how does microbiology relate to the oil and gas? Because these are some of the questions that you really be facing. How does your course relate to the oil and gas industry? Or how does it fit into the mandate of PTDF? So as a microbiologist, I have to go back again and read about biosurfactant. Maybe for some of you that are microbiologists who are coming from biochemistry background, you will understand they actually have biosurfactant, which enable in microbial enhanced oil recovery. So I looked at biosurfactant and I also, the research, fortunately, since my graduation, I've fully been involved in research. I've published a good number of publications. I've been ranked one of the top researchers in Nigeria last year and even this year by God's grace. So these were some of the things. So that knowledge gave me idea on gas absorption, which is purely chemistry. So what I did was that I did that triangle. On the A, on the top, I placed a photo degradation. On the other end, I placed biosurfactant. On the other end, I placed biosurfactant, gas sensing, and photo degradation. So I had 3 objectives. But remember that in my SOP, I only had one thing I was proposing to the oil and gas industry. And what was the idea? In case I speak about photo degradation and Mr. A does not like, there is no how I will speak about biosurfactant that he will not like. So, and by the time I'm able to harmonize these 3 things together, it's going to wow them because they are just going to be seeing that I am able to do a lot of things. I'm multitasking, I'm multidisciplinary. So that was some of the things, that was one of the things I believe. So I did not just stop there. I had to look for a A4 paper, printed the triangle. I knew that there were going to be 3 panels, so I printed it into 3. I printed 3 pages. Printed 3 pages. So as I went, I had the 3 pages and I had publication. Now, some of the, as for MSc students, they will lay emphasis on our own part. They were like, we should bring membership to any professional body, bring your O level, bring your transcript. So I had all those things. They will tell you that those things have points, quite well, yeah. But I experienced something differently when I went in for my own interview last year. because I had all those things intact. Then for some of you that have publication, you might hear that it's not necessary, but print your publication. So I remember I printed 6 of mine. I printed them colored. So the day of the interview, so I prepared, and even before the interview, I rehearsed. Like I sit down and I try to rehearse, assuming I'm in the presence of this PTDF and they give it to the panelists, and they'll give me just 3 minutes to speak what I will do to the oil and gas industry. What will I say? So I kept, because you might just be assuming that when you get there, you start speaking English. By the time you get there, tension will set in. And when you start speaking and you're like, I can do, they don't have time and people are on the queue. So they'll just say, okay, we have heard you, don't worry. Congratulations, you hear from us. They'll just tell you that you will hear from us and you will leave that place disappointed. So I prepared, aside doing all those things that I did, I also prepared to trying to talk to myself in 3 minutes, like make sense within 3 minutes, increase make sense within 4 minutes. So when I was able to convince, I called my friends. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to propose to the oil and gas industry. You guys can see. So there was a way, since my SOP was on photo degradation, I had to network the 2 other additional points to the photo degradation. That was how I married the 3 of them. All of them were now seeming as if it was something that was close to it, but they are actually parallel to each other. But there was a way I articulated my English and I made them believe that it was possible, since I was actually somehow already doing researches like that. So on the day of the interview, I was in Abuja, that fateful day, tension. As I got to that PTDF, I saw scholars coming in, because you are going to be interviewed by people that they are upstairs, there actually, but they are Nigerian. So you are lucky you might meet your lecturer, you might meet one from like an alumni, or maybe from your university. So different things can happen, but they are very accommodating. So when I went to I was before, it was on Friday, and Friday is half day. People will go for Juma. So anyone, and that was the last day. So anybody making any comments that, or anybody coming for interview, has to be fast as possible, because they'll close on time. So when I got in, the first question they asked me was that, okay, tell us about Q and PTDF. So I knew that I only had 3 minutes to do this. So there was no point trying to go forward, back, forward, back, forward. I knew that they just need me to make sense. They want me to make sense. So at the very first beginning, I told them that my name is Innocent Benjamin. I am from Taraba State. I hold a bachelor's degree in microbiology. And I have served, and ever since I finished serving, I've actively been engaged in research. So at that point, when I mentioned research, remember, there was no there was no room for you to present your publication. So, but when I mentioned that I've actively been involved in research, I brought out my publication. Before I even went in, I kept all the documents, how I'm going to be submitting it to them. So when I mentioned that I've been involved in research, I dropped 6 publications on their table, because I was just sitting and piecing them. I dropped it and I continued speaking. So, but one thing that baffled was that immediately I dropped the publication, they now went for it and now even left me. They were now wild at the publication. So that was when I knew that I've grabbed them already. They are now in my hands. I can actually deliver. So I went on again. I now told them that, okay, throughout this research, this and this and this, I spoke on my strengths first, like what I can do, what I've done, what I've done, what I can do, and what I'm known for. Like I ensure that first line, because an African adage will say, a good dancer should know when to leave the stage. I knew that I had no time. So the better for me to start making sense. So I started talking about my strength. So the man was talking, the man was dropping evidence. Because you cannot say that some of them, they will just believe that everybody will say that I'm a good researcher. They need tools. So if you've written your undergraduate, maybe you've not published, or maybe you have undergraduate, there is need. Probably as you're saying, I'm a researcher, you drop it. if you are someone that maybe have published and you have maybe Google Scholar, I think one of the things that Mr. Joshua gave me that period was that I had to go to my Google Scholar and I screenshotted my Google Scholar with the number of my citation and index. I went to my Web of Science, did the same, and I printed them all in color. So the more I was speaking, the more I was dropping them. So I took them off the whole stage. So the 3 minutes I was supposed to speak, they didn't even check again. That was how I ended up talking, harmonizing. And when I now came to the point when I dropped that triangle I told you about, that was when one of them now shouted, "Top, finally we have made a result." They now asked me, "Where have you been?" So you see, at this point now, they don't know that I've graduated with one. They didn't even know that I'm a microbiologist. They didn't even pay attention to the fact that I was a microbiologist. So they didn't even check whether I belong to a professional membership. Because when I say, because once I mentioned what I've done, my strength, and I brought in the idea of the PhD, not MSc, because that triangle was kind of trying to portray a summary of a project proposal for a PhD student that is doing it. So I elaborated on each of the triangle, on each of part of the triangle. So when I finished, one of the panel even said that if she has the opportunity, she will even want to introduce me to her governor. One of the professor, I think a Fulani man that was standing there, just stood up and was just looking at me. So that paper triangle that I did, that additional of 2 things that I did to my SOP gave me another additional 8. That was a plus. So if you are going for this interview, you have written something, please, if you want to, if what you have written is so convincing and you know, it does not just end there. Because, for example, a lot of people are going to write SOP from bioremediation. Remember, those maybe from biological background. A lot of people that maybe I want to go into public health, thinking about environmental cleanup. So your idea, you are not novel to your idea. A lot of people will still talk about what you want to talk. But the question is, how convincing will you sound in your own SOP? Like, how well do you understand what you want to do? And that is what will matter at the end of the day. Because I believe I applied for biotechnology. Several other persons applied for biotechnology. But why were they interested in my own biotechnology when I presented? So these are some of the questions you need to ask yourself. So when I presented, I spoke for a very length. They didn't even, and while I was speaking, I just noticed that they were busy typing recommendation for me. It was after I finished, and now I didn't just speak there because I didn't just stop there. I remember when I finished presenting the science part of my journey, or the journey I want to embark, I now went politically as well. So I found myself talking about politics. All this I prepared for it too. I did not just go there and start talking about politics. I remember vividly, I even had to throw them question while presenting. I said, "Sir, or my professors, do you believe," I told them first of all that, "Do you believe that the failure of Nigeria is not actually on leadership, on the present leaders?" So they were like, they were not like, "What am I trying to say?" So I said, "Okay, this is my belief." I said, the current leaders in Nigeria, 20, 30 years ago, they were youths like us. And as at then, they were also blaming the leaders of that day, of those maybe when they were youths, they were blaming those leaders. They failed to take responsibility. So I believe that me coming in now and presenting myself to you, PTDF, to give me scholarship, is because I want to be a responsible leader tomorrow. So if you fail to give me the scholarship, that means there's bound to be irresponsible leaders in Nigeria tomorrow. But I made it very politely. So I said, I'm taking no responsibility. I'm not going to sit down and blame these leaders because I know tomorrow somehow I'm going to find myself in power. And if I don't take chances now, I'm also going to be a terrible leader tomorrow. So when I made this point, that was another point again that made them. They were like, one of them was like, "You are everywhere, brother. You are in chemistry, you are in microbiology." Because the photo degradation is even a pure chemistry because biosurfactant is microbiology. And here I was talking about politics again. And to round it up, I now told him that I look forward to become a minister in this country and part and parcel of the decision-making bodies in this country. And I want to be when I was speaking, the confidence in me I don't just know how, but I know I summoned the confidence, because that's one thing that will make you, that 3 minutes, they will allow you to talk for 10 minutes. They will not even check their time.
Yeah.
So that was how I took the center speech, and I spoke, till I was even, that was a bit tired of even talking. So when I finished, literally there was no question for me. So that was when they now went back to go and check. Ah, guy, you are not even a first class student. I now smile. They look at my WAEC. They were like, even your WAEC said you're having. I said, sir, because it is very true. Some of us come from regions in Nigeria where educationally we are underdeveloped, and it's not like you having C's all through your WAEC was actually your fault, or you going to get some universities before you even see B in a grade, B as a grade, your body will tell you. So there are things like that. So people have underlying factors that make people possibly graduate low or to graduate weak. And for someone that is coming with the first class and is going with the first class is a very powerful tool if you use it very well. Also, because if you just rely, because I remember after my name was shortlisted, a guy called me, is a first class student. He called me and was like, he got a first class. I'm just sharing my experience throughout the journey so that you know how to prepare your mind. Not that I'm trying to belittle any grade or anything, please. Just try and understand. So he called me, I was like, and he got first class. He did not get the scholarship. Me, I got 2-1. How did I get the scholarship and he did not get? So if you are a first class student, you have a powerful advantage. You know your onions very well, because only the question for them to ask me at the end of the day. So you are not even a first class student. Gave me a signal that possibly, if I was a first class student, I wouldn't needed to speak more like this. Maybe I would have just spoken a little more. So they now nodded. And I'm not supposed to say this, but I think even right from the day of that interview, I was told that I was given. But one of the professors even said if there was even an opportunity, they would have given me a strict PhD. But they are assuring me that they congratulated me that same. So I left the tour, PTDF, coming back to Calabar, knowing that I have won the scholarship. But there was no anything to beat around it. In as much as when I came back, sometimes I was feeling like Nigeria might happen to me too. But to the glory of God, at the end of the day, it was eternal all to be victorious. And I used PTDF to believe that Nigeria is great and Nigeria will be better tomorrow. So don't feel in that kind of that kind of way. It's normal to feel now, possibly, but then if you gather your onions very well, you know them, just like what I'm saying. Be very confident. Some people went in and came back and came out of the room tearing. And now some of us must have written, because in the selection of the one thing I came to notice is that maybe in the selection of the SOPs, you don't just assume that your SOP was the best, and you now feel like maybe you don't need to work on your SOP again. This is the last opportunity you have to edit your SOP. Because when you go there, it's possible that they might not even read the SOP. They don't have time. You get. So when you get in there now, they will just look at you, okay, this is what you, and it's for a PhD that there is a topic, so they can start attacking from your topic. But since SOP, there's no topic now, so they will just look at it. Maybe if you know that what you've written is contradicting, because it ideal that before you go for the interview, you should know what the PTDF mandate is. So if you have not checked, please go on the side of the PTDF, go and check what are the core values of the PTDF. Like, what are they actually looking at? Because PTDF is looking at you to come and solve a problem in the oil and gas industry. So if you are going there and you're proposing an idea that is completely going to remove oil and gas industry and in a way terminate PTDF, you are on a long journey. Because someone is saying, come and solve a problem in my house. That was one thing I realized. Though. Come and solve a problem in my house. This I want to stay in this house,
That's in
and
three
this is the
minutes.
problem I have. Okay, sorry, okay. This is my house, so I want to come and solve a problem. So I believe he wants you to look at the zinc, look at the roof, look at the walls, and fix them. But now, when you are now coming to give options that you should go and buy another land, you might try to see where we're trying to move in. So generally, that was all about my interview, and my name was shortlisted, and I got the phone, and I'm here in Portmore. There are other things to say, but maybe as you ask questions, I can actually. Thank you very much, Dr. Joshua.
Okay, yeah. So it's a nice journey. I remember telling Innocent last year when I saw his
Mm,
profile. I said, "There's no way you cannot get the scholarship."
mm,
I said, "There's no way." And I always say this: it's not about you having a good profile. It's about you selling yourself. You might have a first class. You might have 9 A's in your what's it called, your undergrad, your O levels. You will have everything checked. But once you sit down there and you don't know what to say, you get lost and on you're already done. It's almost like you know when somebody sends you his CV and you're seeing a lion and then the person sits down in your front and you're seeing a lamb, and then you cannot put the two CV and the person talking to you together. You cannot put the two uh, different characters together. And most of the times, these guys are just know that they are good in their field, the people you're going to sit and speak with. And at the same time, you that you're speaking to them, you are the best person to speak about what you want to do. So it depends on how much, what can I say? How will I convince these guys that I'm the right candidate uh, for for this scholarship? So remember, like Innocent said, for masters, 5, 6 people, you're competing with only people from your state. So if you have 100 candidates that have been shortlisted in your state, there's only about 10 slots for them. And with that 10 slots, will you be part of the 10 slots? So for everything, you have to bring evidences. That's one thing with PTDF. I remembered when I was going for my PTDF interview. I think I did not share this maybe in the previous sessions. When I did my first PTDF interview for PhD, I had I had all my scholarship letters that I had then in university, undergraduate days, masters, and all. I remembered calling my mom, check all your papers and bring those evidences for me because it's all about what you can show them right on the table. And when I presented everything after the interview, it was a very good interview. And I remembered two of the panelists saying, congratulations, see you in France next year. So I left that place with pride, with this high level of confidence. That was in 2018. With this high level of confidence and everything that, yeah, I've gotten this scholarship. But however, when the names came out, my name was not on the list. And I was like, what? You know? And since coming from Adamawa, I checked my name in Adamawa. I did not see. So my mom is from Taraba, by the way, Innocent. I went to Taraba and checked maybe they did a
yeah.
mistake and put my name in Taraba. My name is not, it's not there, you know? And overall, I
Mm,
got a bit discouraged and I was not happy because I knew I put all for me, it's I never fail and any scholarship, I just write it once, I do everything once and I get it. So it was like the first time and I was shocked to my bones. And then I tried again in 2019. But you see,
mm,
there's times, yeah, when you do something certain time, maybe it didn't work out this year, doesn't mean it might not work out the next year.
yeah.
When I went to the panel is the second time, my both interviews I did that in Bauchi. And
Mm,
immediately I entered the panelists. Now, based on what I did last year, I didn't know two of the panelists recognized me. And the question they asked me was, what are you
why are you
doing
not in
here?
France?
You're supposed to have gone. I said, no, I
Mm,
was not shortlisted. And then they said, okay, let's see what you will offer this year. And then I had another amazing interview again.
mm,
And the head of the panelist said, I will give a recommendation. Nobody can change it.
mm,
And immediately I had that, and he wrote the stuff and everything. I knew this year nothing can happen. I will get the funding, and it happens that I got the funding at the end of the day. Now, what are we trying to say? Now, you must understand that this is an opportunity that will change your life. If you finally get it, it will change your life. It will change the course of where you're going to in life. You might not really understand until you have that. Some of us have been fortunate to have to go through this funding to travel abroad for even the first time and then finish a PhD, do a postdoc, and then now I'm working with the French Geological Survey. Now, it's an opportunity that will entirely change your life. It will give you a better way for your future and for where you're going to. It might look as if it's small, but believe you me, if you get this opportunity to do your master's, everything about your life will change, and how you think and how you do things will completely change, because you have some level of exposure you've never had in Nigeria. Now, and it opens you to the opportunity at the global scale. You can compete with anybody at the global scale. And this is what you have to put at the back of your mind. You've written your SOP, you have written everything you have to do. I advise you, take all evidences. The some way innocent, they take everything, anything you say, there should be a paper to show that. Anything you're saying, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, show it immediately. I getting it? I remember when they were saying, we need you to provide, I think 3 or 4 scholarships you must have gotten, and I provided like almost 9 different fundings I've gotten. I just dropped it on their decks like, this is it, this is it, this is this. And they're like, wow, you're supposed to be paying Nigeria back by now, you know? And I'm like, no, I getting it. So it's sort of like, for everything, drop all evidences and articulate what you need to say. Now, articulating what you need to say means, if it means you're cramming every word you need to say, practice it 50 times, 100 times, do it. It's very important. Timing, it's very important here. Once they say 3 minutes, you should be able to convince people in 3 minutes. Sorry. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit sick. So you should be able to convince them in that 3 minutes. And this will only come as a result that you practice what you need to say over and over and over again. And once you're able to practice that, then you will be good to go. So now I'm going to go ahead to give us room for questions. And then we'll discuss generally. And if you have any question, I will give you the room. You ask your question and we discuss if you have other concerns. So go ahead, guys.
Good evening.
Yeah, go ahead, Joseph.
Okay. Now I just heard of, okay, first off, thank you very, very much, Doctor, for this privilege and this opportunity. Now, my question is the first one. Now, hearing Mr. Innocent talk, it's like, oh boy, there's plenty of work. Now, we don't have publications. Like me, I don't have publications yet. So would that be a challenge?
No, that's not a challenge. It will be just an added point to sell yourself.
Okay.
You see, like
Okay.
the case of Innocent. Innocent
Yeah.
is like, you're coming for a master's and there's a criteria for PhD for publication. Then there's
True.
a master student that has publications. And as I remember, as at then, Innocent had almost how many publications then? And I said, capture
It
your
was 55.
score. Yes, I said capture your Google score.
55.
Yes. And I said, capture your Google Scholar and put it on your SOP. I said, capture the picture and put it on your SOP. Anybody that sees it will like, oh boy, we need to call this guy. Because it's all about this. You're getting it? So what you need to do is, you don't have a publication. It's not a criteria for them to select you. But then what are the other things you can leverage on?
Okay.
You have to know your strength. Know your strength.
Sell your strength, except if they're trying to puncture your weaknesses. Then you find a way to
Okay.
cover your tracks and defend that weakness and make it to be a strength at the end of the day.
Okay, sir. Now is a second one. What if we have like this proposed project topic? Would that be welcome to like you just discuss about it? Like this is what you intend to do at the end of the program?
Yes, if you have a sketch of what you want to do, go ahead and do something like Innocent did. He had a sketch.
Okay.
It's like this guy is prepared for this thing.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys, if you have
Good afternoon, sir. I don't know if I can ask my question.
Yeah, go ahead, Nathaniel.
Right.
Okay. My question is on serious, but I feel it's important, I know, because I'm traveling from Lagos, so I didn't take a suit with me because I felt a tie and just a corporate shirt, a corporate long sleeve and shoe would do. But the suit is important, and if I cannot get a suit, then maybe I should try and see if I can wear a kaftan with a cap like that. So I want to ask: is it necessary? Is it very, very important? Is it compulsory?
So, yeah, you can wear a kaftan and put a cap. You're well dressed. I think most of my northern brothers used to do that.
Yeah.
For interviews, so it's accepted. And then if not, you wear a suit. If you don't have a suit to put a jacket. You know this jacket you wear on with the tie and just look smart. That's
Okay.
important in it.
Okay.
I know of guys that bought new suits that are not showing. So don't go and kill yourself and go and buy. It's not about the suit is going to make you look very smart anyways. But the guy sitting on that chair, they're interested in your brain. They're interested in what you see. So I remember when I was even going, they say, Innocent, you have beard. Go and remove this thing. This will think you are a rascal. But to my greatest surprise, before I even walk in, the first man was like, I like your beard. I like mine to grow like this. So sometimes things will just turn out for you like that, but just look smart, presentable, just like what Doctor said. Don't go and kill yourself.
So another question is, I don't know, is it important, maybe, for example, if you have won an award in your undergraduate, let's say Agbami Award, is there any point stating it or just mentioning it?
There's you have the award letter with you?
Yes, I
Let's
do.
go ahead to take it because you have marks for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it goes a long way to prove your leadership skills. That's another thing again, because when you mention it, in addition to studying this providing solutions to the oil and gas industry, this award also boosts your leadership skills and your recognition. So stuff like that is all you can articulate all those things and present evidence.
Okay.
And overall,
Thank you,
what
sir.
people are looking at for is track record of success. It's brutal, but that's what they are looking at for. And any recruiter that you sit in his front is trying to see what you have done successfully before, and that will define if you'll be successful in the future. So everything that would define you were successful before. That's why you see they give higher points to people with first class, with A's in their own level. It's just we appreciate when you have a track record of success from when you were small and you kept going.
Okay.
You're getting it. Any evidence,
Yeah.
please print it out and take it to them on that day.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Please go ahead.
All right. Okay. Is it me? Can I go?
Go ahead, Joseph. I think nobody.
Okay. Now it's about the requirement. Now, because I checked while I was browsing, they said all the documents you uploaded should be brought. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about transcript. If you don't have your transcript readily available, should that be something to worry for?
Do you have student copies? The previous student copies of the transcript that you had before?
No, that one is still being processed.
No, normally after your semester, you get the student copy that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess my school operated a bit differently.
Okay.
But then, does your school upload your results online?
No, they don't. That's the challenge. Yes, we would have printed it. They don't.
Wow. Because it's an evidence-based.
You don't have a certificate?
I have a statement. I only have a statement.
So the statement showed you graduated the first class 2-1. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it does. It does. It shows 2-1.
Yeah, so that's what you need, because when you say you have graduated the first class, because they're looking at first class 2-1, because that's the point. It's your transcript per se.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
You have
and
the
another thing,
transcript to the
yeah, if you are able to, now you know that these are some of the classes you're already having. So focus and articulate your defense very well, your science, because like my case now, they didn't even ask me to present my transcript again at the end of the day. I didn't even show any of those documents I went to. They didn't even ask me to show them. So there are points you can always maybe if they start with asking and you make more sense, makes sense, they will not dwell on this. Maybe they will just write their recommendations and be cool. So just prepare better. Don't allow that one to demoralize you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, Moses.
Hello.
Just go ahead. Moses Daniel, go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Moses.
My question is, I don't have a publication currently, but then I submitted one to a paper to a journal recently, and I got a response back. So they sent me some suggestions to work on before submitting it back to them before they can accept it. So it has not been accepted yet.
Go ahead and print it out and show them it's an evidence they're doing research.
Okay, all right.
Print
Thank you.
the manuscript you send out for publication and tell them already you have a review report already. Print that page, and then they will say you're already doing research. It's a plus.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Philip, go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful webinar. So I just want to quickly ask Mr. Innocent, so when you approached the panel and then they asked you to talk about yourself, I mean, after you presented your work history and then the evidence to show for it, did they ask you any question in return? Like maybe you talked about the biotechnology and some of those things you did. Did they ask you specific questions about your work history or accomplishments?
Oh, okay. Like in my case, since because the truth is that there are panelists that you will meet. There are some ideas you will bring. They will not be familiar with them. But any like for example, but if you are presenting something on bioremediation, definitely they will have ideas. So like in my own case, I was somehow different because I presented on photo degradation and guard absorption. And I realized that all my panelists, the three of them did not know this. None of them had idea what I was talking about. So I had opportunity to even kind of maybe explain and teach them what it was all about. The only question, I only had one question after I presented, one professor from the north, when I finished. So he was like, he's interested in this, my factor. So on the process of trying to ask the question, he didn't really know how to even place the question, but I understood where he was going. So I politely collected the question from him, rephrased it, and I answered it. So I did not really have most questions at the end of the day. And I believe when you start getting more questions is when you are not so sure or you're convinced about what you're saying, you now start contradicting yourself. It's going to open room for many questions. Let's say you are talking about a topic you don't really understand, and you mention the term. One particular professor or panelist might be interested in that particular thing. And once you sit up and ask and you fumble, they might dwell within that region and frustrate all your efforts. So know what you're saying before you say things that will contradict the next one. So articulate your points very well, see them, and you stay far from questions that will destroy your presentation. So that was my own case. I didn't really have much questions like that. I only have one. There was no really question. But I expect questions like, how is your course related to oil and gas industry? What problem are you solving? What are your short-term and your long-term goals? So these are some of the questions that will come in the replay. And another thing again that gave me itch again was the fact that I went and read news about oil and gas industry. So I know some of you will be proposing maybe corrosion of oil pipelines. If you say I'm studying this because it's going to help in the maintenance of oil pipelines, did not present a particular implication that the oil and gas industry has faced, it will be a problem. I remember I had to go online, check news as far back as 2004. I picked news. So when I was speaking, I said, okay, clean up the replacement of oil and of oil pipelines has incurred, I think almost every year Nigeria spends about 225 billion naira just to replace a corrupt pipeline. And this is caused by microorganisms. So there are some facts that when you're speaking and you're quoting dates, if you are a scientist, you're calling those terms and you're quoting dates, news, if you are making those references, you will avoid yourself from questions that will make you look as if you don't know what you can present. So that's my own point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Innocent. So
Sure.
you just mentioned the point that just interested me now. So unfortunately, I worked on a corrosion paper. I collaborated with a group of researchers. So this one data they just said, no, I just wanted to quickly get it again. How much is Nigeria spent?
Now,
And then yeah, and that's the first question. And then the second question,
okay.
if you're asked, say for example, if you're asked on, okay, why not doing your course in Nigeria? Why did you choose the UK? Why did you choose Germany? Why did you choose France? Why that university? So what is the best way to articulate your response to that question? Thank you.
Okay. Now, based from your first question, what is your first question again? Please come. Okay, like the fact about the
Okay, how much? I just wanted to.
Yeah, like yes, it depends. It depends on what the problem, where the corruption is coming from. Like in my own case, I was able to tell them that microorganisms are somehow responsible for the corrosion of pipelines. So, and this corrosion of pipelines incurring the Nigerian economy, like they have to lose 225 billion. I went online on Google, by browse. I was factual about whatever I was saying. There were maybe moments I was mentioning dates of actually what really transpired. So if you are presenting on corrosion, a lot of people from chemistry background and physics we talk about corrosion. So if you are talking about corrosion, because you are going to talk about the negative implication of that corrosion in the oil and gas industry and how you want to come and solve it. So just go online, look for news, like get some dates, get some facts that are online, get some statistics that are real. So when you're speaking, you're making references to them. If there's even one that is currently trending now, go and look for recent news now, currently on maybe oil and gas, if they have to do anything like corrosion. And for those that are going for ban remediation or spillage, there's a current incident of a Shell selling off their company or something like that as a result of they cannot be able to meet up with the cleanup or oil spillage and stuff like that. So you could make references to what was even the effect. Because for Shell to sell their company after operating for over 90 years, just because of oil spillage, that means a serious problem on the Nigerian economy. So you can make those things speak factual like that. Then for the second one, asking you either to go abroad or Nigeria, that one, even the person asking yourself know that we don't have facilities. The major thing is that we don't have facilities. And if you are presenting a case like corrosion, for example, do we really have facilities that can actually help you to study corrosion study in Nigeria effectively? And even if we have, which of the university have? And from records, what have these universities shown or proven that they can actually solve the problem related to corrosion with their studies? So this would be your background. So looking at these lapses, I feel like Nigeria is not really Nigeria does not have the facility at the point because there has not been any record or there's no really substantial record. And the world has evolved. And now anything you're trying to study has to be linked to the digital world. So nobody's going analog again. So, and Nigeria has not got that technological advance So you actually want to go abroad so you can lay hands on those softwares, those amazing technological techniques and stuff like that. So that will, you can go online, take some findings,
Yeah,
ask
go
questions,
ahead.
have
Yeah.
to reply.
Okay,
Yeah.
Odele, go ahead to ask your question. Odele? Okay, if I delete online, Fatima, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Good evening. Thank you
Good
for
evening.
the opportunity. So I will just give you a background before I ask my question. So I hold a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, and when I was submitting my SOP, because I know that a lot of people will be submitting, will be applying for civil engineering in the oil and gas industry. I try to, because currently I work as a transport engineer, so I try to streamline my SOP to I would be applying for civil engineering, but I want to specialize in transportation planning and environmental sustainability. And because transportation engineering as a whole is very wide, very, very wide, and there are a lot of technologies that are coming up that can be implemented. Recently, we've been having fuel scarcity and they've been attributing it to logistics. That's another thing they were trying to. So I'm going to incorporate in my so basically what I want to say is, so I have this idea of, yeah, I wrote my SOP, but I want to basically create something similar to what Innocent has made. But it's not as deep as what he said for PhD. It's just like a little presentation, on cause, effects, and solution. So I don't know how if that is a smart idea or if it's going to compound my problems at the interview. So basically, I want to talk about, oh, this is the problem that Nigeria is facing. We have some of the facilities, but they are not properly integrated and they're not properly implemented in the Nigerian transportation of petroleum products in Nigeria. So what I would be proposing is this and this and that, and this is why I want to study this. So I don't know if that is a smart idea or I'm just going to be shooting myself in the leg.
So I think for me it's a smart idea because you're already working within that domain, technology. So you are the expert that understand the transport system better than any other person. And then it's a strength for you. And that's why you're proposing, you've seen, you've worked there maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And this is a common problem you see in terms of the supply chain. Transport is a big time problem. We have seen how routes are bad. We've seen how we've talked about pipelines here, and 2 ways that all these products are transported, either through pipelines or through the trucks that we see. And I think majorly it's through the trucks because most of the pipelines
currently in Nigeria.
Yeah, so you understand how the transport system works, you understand the problem, so come up with a solution, something like the way Innocent did, but do your own in your way, and then present it to them that this is it, and this is how much Nigeria tend to lose when it comes to transporting these things, and this is why I want to study this, and this is what I think if we can do, it can be better. We can reduce this cost from 100% to 90 to 80.
Okay, so I have another question. So when Innocent was talking, he said something in the lines of becoming the next minister in Nigeria and so on. So my own career goal is on the other end. Now I don't have the I know a lot of people laugh at it because currently in Nigeria, most of our projects we outsource it to foreign companies. So my own goal is to find a way to provide encourage more Nigerian students to look into transportation engineering. Because even in Nigeria, if you want to do a master's degree, you most likely have to do it in highways. It's not like it doesn't really encapsulates the whole transportation engineering and does not really teach people a very diverse view of transportation engineering. So what was my question again? So the question is, if I present to them that I have a long-term career goal of providing maybe students in federal universities lecturing kind of lecturing services, or maybe a training service to train people on like transportation and everything that it encompasses. What if they ask me why I have decided to do masters instead of a PhD?
Well, because you have a bachelor's degree and you have
Okay.
Mm.
a master's degree before you do a PhD.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Fatima. Okay, like you said, someone. Okay, Fatima, can you hear me? So you
Yeah,
said
okay.
long-term goal is to create a transport system. So, but then I want you to have it at the back of your mind. Please, Ebuka, mute yourself. Ebuka.
Oh, yeah, I'll make it.
Okay. So have it at the back of your mind that you are working with the PTDF mandate. They have the PTDF has their own mandate. So if you are your long-term goal is to return to Nigeria and create a transport system, please try and find a way and link it how it's going to benefit the oil and gas industry, because
No.
that's what they're looking
Okay.
at for.
So short-term, long-term. The
Yes.
short-term for me involves working with FRSC, Ministry of Transportation, DPR, and all those things on how they can implement the processes of transportation planning in integrating other modes of transportation in the distribution of petroleum products. And
Okay.
yeah, so I'm just
That's
saying,
good.
if I include the long term, which is subsequently I would go ahead and get a PhD.
Okay.
What if they ask me why I have decided?
It's a good idea. Go ahead. You need to have the master's before the PhD, and come back for your master's degree. This is what you want to do on the short term. You want to go ahead to start building, because remember, one of the objectives of PTDF is to build indigenous capacity. So it's all about having sort of knowledge and technological transfer from what you gain abroad and trying to transfer it to the Nigerian system. So either directly to the oil environmental or to the university system. And that's why you see they give a particular slot for lecturers, because they expect the lecturers to come back to build the capacity of students. So what you're trying to do now, it's by the time you go back to the universities to do this, you're building human capacity. So propose the solution, you're on track, Fatima.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So anybody having any other question before we move to the main room? Okay, so I hope we've been able to understand a few things.
Sorry, doctor.
Excuse me, please. Can I ask a question, sir?
Okay.
Good evening, sir. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Joshua. I appreciate your time and effort. My question is kind of funny, but I like to ask: do you think applying for the in-country scholarship affects your chance of being selected for the overseas? Because I already started a program here, a master's program here, since I wasn't picked last application. Do you think taking these two applications has effect on each other?
Please come again with your question. I think I'm having some background noise that I don't know if you can hear.
Okay. I said, oh, thank you, sir. I said last year I applied for the same program. I wasn't selected, although I was interviewed. Now I went ahead and I started a program in Nigeria, a master's program in Nigeria. Now I already applied for this overseas and I've been chosen for interview. Now I want to know, should I go ahead and also apply for the in-country scholarship? And if I do so, do you think there is going to be a consequence for applying for both of them? Are they exclusive?
No. They are exclusive. They are all independent of each other. So go ahead, please, and apply also for the in, because the international will come out even before the national shortlisting. They will deal with everything that has to do with the international first before they think about. I think for the national, they just started the application, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
so before the process it's going to take forever. By then, most of you guys have traveled abroad already. So you can go ahead to do that because you're already having a master's already over there, already studying. So for now, concentrate on this and then submit an application for that. It does not affect what you're going to get, whether you're going abroad or you're going to remain in the country.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so Carrie, go ahead.
Okay.
For Carrie.
Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, Carrie, go ahead.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. Please, I have a little question regarding SSC. Is NECO accepted or is it only work result?
NECO is accepted.
Okay, thank you, sir.
NECO is accepted. Okay, I think already we addressed Fatima, except if who else?
No, I have one other. It's not a question per se. It's
Okay.
just to Innocent if it would be possible to have maybe like a short 30 minutes conversation where I can kind of have a discussion with him about my what's the English word? About what I would be presenting to them. So I wanted to know if he will be available maybe sometime tomorrow where I can have a conversation with him. Because even though as much as I've been practicing by myself, it has been, I just need somebody to hear what I have to say and give me points because I've been practicing by myself, but I wouldn't really know if what I'm saying, it may make sense to me, but I may be shooting myself in the leg, like you said. So since he already has an experience in the whole process, I was wondering if I could maybe contact him sometime tomorrow and maybe hear what he has to say about my presentation.
Innocent, are you available?
Yes, I'm available. Sir, if you
Okay.
find yourself
So Fatima, are you on LinkedIn?
I'm available.
Yes, I am on LinkedIn.
So look for Innocent on LinkedIn and Innocent Benjamin on LinkedIn and then send them you guys should connect and take it up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
So hi Chris. Chris is just joining us unfortunately.
Hi, Josh. Sorry, same here. I thought the meeting was I think 5 p.m. or something like that. Sorry, I was in transit. I just got into Toronto.
5 p.m. This is 6 right now.
Sorry.
Okay. So
I was in transit. Sorry.
okay, that's fine, Chris. That's fine, Chris. Yeah, so I think now we all move to the main room. I think we're good. Chris, if you have any other thing to say, you can say to everybody on the main room so that we can be closing soon.
I think when we get to the main room, if I have something to say, I will say it on the general floor.
Okay,
because I think you guys must have dealt with everything possible, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm muted. Yeah, so hi, can you hear me now? Sorry. So I hope we've been able to gain one or two things, either the masters or from the PhD group. So we give room to the facilitators. You have anything to say more? And the participants, if you have any other question that has not been answered in the group and you want to ask, this is the opportunity. And now I've seen Christian join us quite a bit late, and I think Mandy as well. So probably we would like to hear from you guys and what you can tell everybody, your advice to both the masters and the PhD candidates. And with that, we can take the questions that are running questions that are left, and then we can call it a day.
Okay, so there are about 2 questions on the chat box. I don't know whether it has been taken, so I don't know. Let me just read it. That does mentioning that I have begun a master's degree in Nigeria affect my chance of selection?
Don't tell them that.
Has it been answered?
No.
Okay.
So please,
No, it has not been answered.
don't, Habib, do not mention you are already doing a master's. If not, they'll say, oh, we have a local funding, just we give it the local.
Okay, so that's answered. And then can I also apply for the in-country scholarship, having been selected for interview?
Yeah, I think we answered this. You can go ahead and apply for it. It's increasing your chances to have the funding at the end of the day. So if you didn't get the international funding, you have the local funding.
Okay, so I think those are the 2 questions on the chat box. So I think from our end there, most of the questions have been handled, except if there is any other one that is maybe just coming freshly to you. So if you have any fresh question, you could indicate from this side. But of course, we have said so many things, and the idea about it, which I'm just going to emphasize again, it has been said over and over in this seminar that your level of confidence is even far more important than what you know. There are certain things that, somebody was telling me that he went for an interview in an oil and gas, for a job in the oil and gas industry. And what they are doing there, he said he has never had experience in that area at all. He doesn't even have any experience. So what he did was that he just went to read. He went to Google and he read about what they were doing in the company. And he put himself into the shoe of somebody that have worked in that field. And by the time he went for the interview, they were just asking questions, and he was answering the question based on what he had read, not even based on what his experience. And he told them that he has worked in that, he has experience in that area, and and eventually he got the job. So to say is that I'm not saying you should go there deceiving them, but what I just want to emphasize from that point is that maintain a level of confidence. If you are asked a question, answer question intelligently. Even when you don't have a direct answer to a question, just like I said in my section, that redirect the question to make them pay attention to your area of strength. So instead of just giving an answer to a question and you now look stupid. So please, if you don't give an answer that you are not very sure of, if you are not sure of an answer that is coming to you, please, it's better you say you don't have an answer currently for that, or you redirect them to something else that will make them draw question from that area you are drawing their attention to. So that's better than just looking stupid or just being dumb you are being asked a question and you just look dumb. You are not saying anything and you are just looking at them. You know, that it's very ridiculous to do that. So please don't do that. Maintain a high level of confidence. And when you go into the interview, don't sit down until you are asked, until you are offered a seat. I've personally been embarrassed that not PTDF interview anyway. I went for an interview somewhere else, and when I was still looking for a job, and I just offered myself a seat immediately. The interviewer he said, "I have not offered you a seat," and you sat down. So of course, I have started giving a wrong impression about myself from that angle. So please, as much as possible, be cautious, and in answering questions, also be respectful. Answer your question cautiously. Don't be too arrogant. Don't look too arrogant, as if you have come there to bully or making the people interviewing you look inferior. You know, don't demonstrate too much level of pride, but of course, be confident. So that is all I will have to say. So thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Sorry again, guys. Sorry for being late. I was in transit. Totally lost track of everything happening. Sorry. Okay, I would just like to add one point because I guess my colleagues must have handled most of the points I wanted to flog on. Just one important point. Last 2 years, no, not last 2 years, I think it's last 3 years or so, I had a friend that lost the scholarship. I mean, the guy is really good. He was qualified, very much qualified for it. Just the only point, because most times I will tell you guys something straight. Between you and the people from your state, okay, that they are about to choose from, all of you maybe just about at the same level in terms of points when they scored you from your entries. All right. What makes the difference is the impression you made on the interviewers. That's what gives you an extra point. So what made this guy lose the scholarship is very simple, pretty simple. He was not well dressed for the interview. The lady, even the woman, the other woman, after the interview asked him, come on, came outside and said, don't you have a suit? Or maybe don't you have a friend you could borrow from? Something like the guy was, I mean, he felt embarrassed because he was dressed like in a shirt, and I don't even remember what he was wearing, but that was what made him lose the scholarship. He was not well dressed. So if you've not got a suit or something like this, I mean, I know you may not be confident in a suit, but just dress well, okay? Because I mean, you're making an impression. Yeah. So that's the only thing I just wanted to add. Make sure you dress well because sometimes we overlook these areas, these little areas. And like my colleague was saying, it's about the confidence, all right? You mustn't know everything. It's not possible you have answers to all the questions they're going to ask you. But again, I always like to advise people, just be natural, be in your natural elements, because people have this tendency when something is at stake, interview, you are tensed a little bit, and when they ask you a question, you try to answer everything. No, don't do that, okay? You mustn't answer all the questions they ask you, but try to play with words, like he was saying, try to redirect the question if you don't understand it, or if you need some clarity, okay? Ask them to perhaps reframe the question in another way. If you don't have an answer, it's not a bad thing, right? Just be natural. And then I would like to say something. You know, most times when you're preparing for an interview, most of you have got a lot of questions. You want to know, okay, am I doing well in this area? See, the rule of thumb is go straight to the point. Don't give a lot of details when it's not called for. Because for me personally, if I have interviews with people, based on your response, I know what next to ask you. So, but if you are sharp, give just an answer that is straight to the point. Do not give them room to be asking you a lot of questions. But obviously, again, there's a caveat to that. If what you're saying is interesting, assuming you're discussing a technical subject, and there are technical experts, because most times what they might ask you is to tell us about your project, okay? And when you start talking about your project, most likely, if you're in engineering, you're talking to experts, they're there, they will expect you to use the technical terminologies. Go into it, don't be shy, just talk about it. Most times when I go for interviews, if I weigh the room and I see that, okay, maybe it's a mixture of engineers, maybe someone in HR and all of that, when I discuss, I try to bring words that are not so technically inclined, just to, smoothen my conversation. But sometimes when I see that, oh, it's engineers and I'm trying to hold it a little bit back, they just tell me, go ahead, just use it. We understand what you're saying. Okay. And I go ahead. So I think that's one thing that makes you score a good point. Discuss, show an in-depth level of understanding in a technical area, especially if the question is technical, okay? But don't try to go so technical if the question is not technical. I don't know if you understand that, if it makes sense to you. These are just a few points I wanted to add. If there's any other question, I'll be glad to take it. For those going for masters, I just want to say, if you, because I believe we've had a trainer conversation with some of you in my private inbox, WhatsApp rather. If you need, just, you can type a question there, just type a question, give your response, okay, in the chat. I'll tell you what to add or subtract, but I can promise having the time to speak with all of you this weekend because I traveled, so I'm somewhere, tomorrow I'll be busy. Just type the question and your response, prepared response. I will tell you what to add or subtract to it, okay? If that's fine. Josh, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Okay, I have a few questions before I to respond on the chat. So I think there are people that were shortlisted for the virtual interview. So I think I have a question. Somebody saying the gift, you've been scheduled for interview by 10 a.m., but they have exams between this to this. And so gift, can you send them an email so that they can reschedule you, please? Please send an email to OSS PTDF and also I think to PTDF info. I think on the WhatsApp group somebody shared 2 emails like that. Please go ahead and send them an email. They will schedule you. Tell them you have an exams that's around the same time they will schedule you. Then somebody, please, for PhD applicants doing virtual, is there need to prepare presentation slides? If there's need be, please prepare in case you want to demonstrate certain things, and because it's difficult when you're doing virtual interview. It's it's a bit different when you're sitting in front of them and you're doing virtual interview. And I think for me, virtual interview comes with some level of skills on how you present things even when you're not there. So if you think you don't have the necessary skill to express yourself, to present things in the best way that you can, please make few slides that if you want to say about something, you just put a slide for them in their front. They're seeing you, they're seeing what you're doing, and you go ahead and talk. Please, if you need to be, please do that. Was there a virtual room this year? I tried requesting. Yes, Shama, there's virtual room. You just need to send an email to them requesting the change. And if you have sent an email to them, they might not respond to you directly, but go ahead and check your platform. Probably it has been updated. Shoma, please go ahead and ensure that you've checked your online platform and it has not been changed, and that's why you're having this issue. They might not respond to your email, but you must have attended to your. So Philip is asking about what about native outfits? Dress, you can have good native and put a cap on it. Most of my Hausa brothers used to do that, and it's accepted. So dress well. Somebody's attended the interview last year, but still not too sure of what to improve upon this time around because I did well then. So Nuruddin or Lanlere, go ahead, and if you think you did better last year, do the best this year. So increase on the energy, give more that you have not given last year. And let this be the last take you want to do. So give the best. I think I've answered everything in the chat. So Nenga, go ahead, please, with your question. Hi, Nenga.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
please, good afternoon here from Nigeria. I want to really appreciate you people for always having time for us. And it's my sincere prayer that your labor for us will not be in vain. I filled the form yesterday in regard to this meeting, but unfortunately I didn't receive the email with the link for this meeting. I have to go on the WhatsApp platform to make a request. By the time I connect, I discovered that the breakout session was remaining just like a minute or 2 minutes thereabout.
I think I sent out emails earlier today to everybody that filled the form. Is there any other person who's not received my email here?
I want to request if what was discussed during the breakout session of PhD, if it's recorded, if we can have the discussion, to go over it, we really appreciate before the interview.
Dr. Lukman, it was the PhD category recorded?
Sir?
Yes, it was recorded.
Okay.
Dr. Lishola recorded it.
It was recorded, Nengak. So I will put it today online as fast as possible. I'll upload everything on my YouTube page immediately after the meeting, once we have the entire videos, and then you can make reference to that, Nengak. Sorry, but I think I copied everybody. Maybe it went to your spam or something, I don't know. But I think I sent.
I even looked for it from the spam. I couldn't see anything. But somebody assisted me the moment he saw my request on the platform.
Okay.
And then send me.
So sorry for that. I think maybe there's a problem somewhere. I don't know. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So any other question? Okay, we don't have any.
There's a question here. There's a question here on the chat. There's is going for master, do I need a study plan? He said, for people going for master, do they need a study plan? That's the question.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Okay, you don't need a study plan. Okay, you don't need any study plan to present to your interviewers. Nothing specific. Okay, but I usually advise have an idea of what you want to do. For example, if you're coming to do a master's in Europe, I believe generally you have an internship, 6 months internship. Okay, so if you understand that, at least you have an idea that okay, after 6 months of coursework, you have 6 months of internship. You can explain that you have, okay, you're going to do an internship. Then after that, what follows? Perhaps maybe get a job and all of that. There's nothing pretty detailed like people going for PhD to present a study plan. No.
Okay.
Okay. There's another one here, sir. Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Shara.
There's another question here. Sir, will there be any questioning about PTDF? Maybe will they ask question about PTDF?
It depends on the, when I say, it's important to know every detail about PTDF, by the way, but it depends on the temperature of the people if they want to ask you or not. So, but you should expect, it's expected that you are well prepared for it. And questions can come out because we want to give you money and you don't know about us. You're joking.
Yes, it's important you know. It's important you know. Then, in fact, you could also be asked. I just want to chip in that. Why have you decided to conduct your study in a particular country? That what has fascinated you about the country? What do you, so please prepare along that line.
Okay, so and then if you, Dr. Ali, Sandy still on? Hi, Ali. I think Ali wanted to say something.
Okay, yes, I'm unmuted now. Yes. So my sincere apologies again. I think I joined the PhD breakout room and I did apologize because I thought it was 5 p.m. for some very, very weird reason. And so immediately it was 10 minutes to 5, I picked up my system and then, I sort of joined and then I was like, oh, wow, what's happening on the breakout room? So my sincere apologies once again to the general. Yeah, like I said earlier, in the breakout room, 99% of everything, you know, that I would have said, I'm sure the other doctors have covered it and everything. I only did emphasize on the need for you to take your moment. That is the most important thing. Take your moment and do your 100%. Give it, just seize the moment and demonstrate to them that you are able to start your studies. For example, for a PhD, you're able to start a PhD and you are able to complete it. Because PTDF wouldn't want to give you money and then you stop somewhere. They don't want to see. For some of us that even got some extension, it's simply because of COVID. You know, they would try to give you an extension but PTDF wouldn't want to give you an extension. Okay, so there, whatever it is, try to demonstrate to them that you are able to start this PhD and complete it. And significant areas that I keep emphasizing are, if you go there with a proposal, you should have an idea of what knowledge you're trying to improve or what is the knowledge gap. So it's contained in your statement of problem, which a few of the proposals I read, you know, I always give that comment that, okay, you haven't really identified your statement of problem, you know, effectively. And then the secondly is methodology. How do you intend to carry out your research? What are the sort of data that you're going to collect? What sort of samples are you collecting? How do you intend to analyze this data? And then what do you intend to achieve after collecting this data and sort of the expected outcomes? These are absolutely important. And for the MSc students, you want to do this course, just like Dr. Joshua said earlier. Okay, you need to know about the university. You need to have an idea about PTDF itself. I know in 2016, when we did write an exam, that time it was a computer-based exam. You need to know a lot about PTDF, how it was founded, this and that and that and that. The panelists, just like Dr. Joshua said, can decide to just ask you that question again. So yes, you need to know. It's not necessarily going to be your toughest question, but of course you need to know some sort of things about PTDF. You need to know about your intending courses, you know, and then how they align with the visions and missions of PTDF. And I think once you have all that sorted, take your moment and speak, you know, confidently, not rudely, and not. By the time you start talking and you see the panel is saying, we can't hear you, can you speak up? Just know that something is absolutely wrong from that time. It will take the grace of God for you to get to the level that they want you to get, okay? So try to be audible, try to be confident, and even if you are saying something that is not 100% correct and they try to tell you, oh, this is not the way to do it, say, oh, well, it's not particularly my area of strength, but I'm working on this and that, something like that. You know, that's what Dr. Olushola was saying. Try to divert their attention to something, to your strength and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is basically my contribution. If anyone has any other thing to discuss directly, maybe you can reach me after that.
Okay, yeah, so thank you, everyone. I think it was a nice session, discussing everything, thinking with details and the advice. Take your moment, like Dr. Andy said, take your moment, relax, try and sleep and rest before your interview. Don't go there tense. And once you enter into the panel or you're sitting behind your computer, for those that have to do the virtual interview, relax as much as you can. Those doing the virtual interview, stay somewhere that's quiet, no distraction, nothing, and where you have good lighting, where they can see you very well and you can speak and express yourself. And if you're doing the virtual interview, please, the use of your hands are important to describe what you want to say, because they cannot see you. So use the best means possible to express yourself. So if you need to do the slides, like suggested, do it. Please go ahead and do it. It's because you're trying to express yourself, and this is the best way you can. Oh, I'm talking about, oh, this certificate, blah, 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 blah. Project the certificate. It's on a slide. Let them see, because you're not presenting a copy to them. You see? Maybe the certificate came after you applied for the grant and all the stuff. So present to them. Oh, I have this paper I submitted, and this is the manuscript. Present it on the screen for them immediately. So do all of these things. I think it will give you an edge, and we can only wish you the best. If you have anything in specific you need to ask us, I can guarantee you all these guys are quite busy. Every one of us is so busy, and we hardly got ourselves to organize this session for today. So, but go ahead and reach out to us, notwithstanding. We'll still give you some little time to discuss what your concern, and we could listen to you as well. We can only wish you guys the very best, and we hope when this final names have been shortlisted, we'll be glad to congratulate you at the end of the day. So I think we'll have to call it a day now. And any other question, put it on the group, and if we have time, we'll be able to respond to that. Thank you very much. So bye, everyone. Maybe just the facilitators can stay a bit behind it with every other person. Thank you for joining us.